So, Mark, it's Labor Day as we record this, and there was a cool drone show over this weekend over the Strip. We don't know if it was one drone show or two. It apparently was at Wynn XS, but then there was some shots from Summerlin, Raiders logo, Lakers, Planet with Stars. It was a really neat show, and I can find almost nothing on the internet about it.
Yeah, what was the deal with the Lakers, do you think? Is there a lot of Lakers fans in Vegas? Just because they don't have an NBA team yet? I was just kind of surprised.
There's a lot of people from Los Angeles here in Vegas, so I guess that could be the case. Raiders fans, I don't know, did somebody pay for it? This is the mystery drone show, but it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. They could have done something like Nico's drone show or something. That would have been amazing.
So, Mark, the Las Vegas Strip has been scattered with, like, ruins for years, right? Fontainebleau sat there for decades. There's other places around the Strip, including on the South Strip across from Mandalay Bay, the Skyview. Those are those concrete pillars that were supposed to be a wheel, and this was going to be a competing wheel project to the High Roller, but Caesars managed to get theirs built. This one fell through, and we've been sitting with those big stacks of concrete for like a long time now. Apparently, they're finally going to be torn down, or at least according to Vital Vegas, he says they suspect that it'll happen soon. Jay Owenhouse, a magician, is going to put a circus show, another eyesore of the Strip going away.
We're getting like an old school circus, maybe. That's kind of interesting. I don't know why they wouldn't have torn those down 10 years ago or 5 years ago. If they knew it wasn't getting built, why did they just leave an eyesore like that up? It's kind of crazy. I mean, it's not like in the midst of everything that everybody sees it that comes to Vegas, but enough people would see it coming from the airport and stuff that you think you'd want to demolish that in some way. Plus, it'd just be kind of like a safety thing. So kind of strange, but glad to see it's coming down. The tent, and man, they better have some good air conditioning. That's all I can say.
You would hope so. Apparently, he wanted to have big animals as part of the show, but then the county commission said no. So I don't know what it will actually entail in the end. They're not allowing those types of shows anymore. But it's a good use. I mean, the project went bankrupt, and then basically it's been sitting there. They also bought Speed the Ride from Sahara years ago, and it's been sitting on that site forever. I think it's still sitting there. I have some video from back in 2020 I can throw up for everybody, but I don't think it's changed much since then, rotting away. That coaster will never go again, but it was one of the probably the best coaster ever to be in Las Vegas. It was going to be a cool project, and they never had the money, just similar to the dream up the street, right? Start the construction, hope they get funding later, doesn't come through, and then it all stops.
Yeah, get the money first. At least AllNet got that right. They waited to get the fake money before they started actually doing anything, and it just never came. But yeah, I mean, I never got to ride that coaster. I'm kind of sad that it's just sitting there and never got used. It's amazing that people buy these things and then they just become kind of a junk wasteland sometimes. Hopefully somebody can do something with the cars, or I don't know. It's probably just trash now. It'll end up in Lake Las Vegas
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the city of Oakland and how they're playing hardball with the A's. Specifically, as part of this relocation, the A's need to figure out where they're going to play for 3 seasons before their ballpark would be finished in Las Vegas. One of the options is in Oakland for them to extend the lease on the Coliseum, but Oakland's saying, no, if we're going to extend the lease, you're going to stay in Oakland. But if you're not going to stay in Oakland, we might extend the lease if you agree to leave the Athletics name and organization behind and then move to Vegas with a new name and then promise Oakland a new team. This is what happened in Cleveland many years ago. So it's not unprecedented, but it's not common. And Major League Baseball could have the A's play in San Francisco. They could have them play at the Las Vegas ballpark, perhaps somewhere else as well. So I don't think that they're really going to bend over backwards to accommodate Oakland. But do you think it's a good idea? Do you think Oakland could get another baseball team if the A's move to Vegas?
Man, it's tough to say because they have, San Francisco's right there. They already have that baseball team. It's not that much different. I know it's not the same for people that grew up as A's fans. But they've struggled to get funding or anything to build a new stadium. We've talked ad nauseum on this show of how spending public money for stadiums doesn't usually work out in the city's favor. So I don't even know if that's a good thing. It seems kind of like grandstanding by the mayor. They kind of have a black eye that they've lost a sports team. And this is a way to say, you know what, I'm sticking up for you guys. I don't know that anything comes from it. If they can work the schedule into the Giants Stadium, I think that probably makes the most sense because it's, right there ready to go. Coliseum would be good if they could do it just because you get a couple more years if you're an Oakland fan to be there. But we'll have to see how it plays out. I don't think anything comes of this. But, we were hoping for a new team name going to Vegas anyways. I think it'll maybe endear the locals to it a bit more.
Yeah, I would be all for that. Of course, the Athletics have a storied history, very old team, and there's a lot going on with that. So I could see people being split on that. I don't see why they'd want to stay in the Coliseum if they're only drawing 8,000 or 9,000 people a game. They could play in the Las Vegas ballpark, which can hold more than that. And the Aviators have done it, and then they can start to build in the market that they're going to be in. Or, to your point, they can go across the bay. Probably still wouldn't draw very well in San Francisco. As much as I would like a new name, I don't think that's going to happen, but we shall see. So the Middle East is in the news, and we've had a lot of stories over the last couple years. Caesars built a property in Dubai, non-gaming. Wynn announced a massive property in Dubai, which will be non-gaming, but they're hoping for gaming, MGM 2. And Dubai and the Emirates in general, there's, I think, 7 Emirates. They're kind of figuring out how they're going to legalize gaming. And guess who is going to spearhead that? The ex-MGM Resorts CEO, Jim Murin. He is going to the Emirates, and he's going to help build the gaming infrastructure and the laws for these companies that have already announced projects. Seems like they might have known that this was all going to happen beforehand when they announced these billion-dollar projects. But Dubai may be going to be the Las Vegas of the Middle East.
Yeah, we've said, for years now, it just seems strange to put that much money up and not have the gaming revenue, which we show, every month in Vegas at least. And I know it's not the same market. Gaming revenue still makes up a big chunk of the money that they're bringing in. So they must have had something in place, and the fact that they're hiring an MGM person makes it seem like this is a full bowl, like let's go, let's get this going, and so maybe they knew that was going to happen, or there was promises made. So it seems like it's very likely that they end up getting what they wanted, and I'm sure that all the everything in Dubai is kind of like over the top, crazy, awesome, and expensive. So I'm sure these are going to be some of the best casino hotels in the world, and worth checking out.
Yeah, and the Emirates, they want to build rules, build laws that will help the casino industry sort of integrate properly. Obviously, gambling illegal in the country. It's a religious state, so there's a lot of considerations here. But when they announce these projects, Wynn and MGM, they have space within the projects for casinos, even though they weren't going to be casinos, because it wasn't legal yet. So neither of these companies are going to be surprised by this. And this is an interesting thing. Las Vegas basically spearheading the spreading of the gaming industry into there. And then we've seen MGM announce their huge Osaka casino and just continued expansion internationally for these big gaming companies based out of Las Vegas, which I guess is good for these companies and for Vegas in general, but it's just more competition overseas. Maybe just a maturation of this entire industry.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, expanding. Everybody wants to dip their hand in the honey pot and get some of that gold.
So let's talk about something fun. We talked about Durango on the last show and the George Sportsman's Lounge, that 24-hour lounge that looked great. Now we have something else to talk about, the Speakeasy that's coming. There's a Mexican restaurant inside called Mijo, and it's going to have a speakeasy inside called Wax Rabbit. The furnishings will have red velvet banquettes, sofas. There'll be a DJ booth. Sounds like a really kind of cool, interesting place. There's a supper club at Red Rock that has a very similar decor to this, and speakeasies are the new thing. We know you love them. And Durango just checking all the boxes, food hall, speakeasy, 24-hour place. I mean, you're in love.
I mean, I love the name of it too. Just the way that you go, they have these wood lockers. They're saying that you can store your own bottle of tequila in, which is a cool thing to do. And then you have to pull on one of the handles and that opens the door. And, a lot of these speakeasies, like the one at Resorts World, everybody kind of knows about. It's not really that hidden all that well, where this one seems like it might take a little bit of knowledge to get in, which I like, and then the inside looks amazing. I don't know, I'm starting to feel like I'm more excited for the Durango opening than Fontainebleau. I don't know, this is kind of pushed me over the edge a little bit there. Everything that I'm seeing looks awesome.
Well, the problem with Fontainebleau is they're doing nothing to promote the property before they open.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been critical on social media. We're leaking pictures that construction workers are sending us. Why are they not releasing pictures and getting the hype up? Durango doing a great job. They're slowly releasing this stuff. The reason we covered George on the last show is because they released that. Then this week they released this, and they're going to sort of trickle this out before they open in a couple months. Fontainebleau really needs to get to work, because I agree, they're building up the hype. And we don't really know a lot about Fontainebleau altogether, specifically the venues, what they're going to have there, what's unique. Resorts World, before they opened, was doing the same thing Durango did. They were slowly just unveiling new venues and what was coming and got you excited about it. Hopefully Fontainebleau kind of wakes up soon and does this, because we really don't know a ton about that property.
Yeah, especially when we're hearing, the rooms, a lot of the rooms are already done and stuff. Why wouldn't you at least leak those pictures or put them out there, have, one of the Las Vegas newspapers come in and do a feature on it? It's kind of great. I mean, I get like the marketing of let's keep everything a secret and really build hype, but I don't think that works in this day and age with social media and everybody sharing everything. Like, you want to be, that builds the hype these days versus being secretive and hoping that everybody's mind is blown the first day. It's kind of a risky play. So we'll see. Maybe as they get closer. I mean, Durango's opening at least a couple weeks earlier than Fontainebleau, so maybe they're just a couple weeks behind, but I don't know. It's getting close.
It is, and hopefully they'll wake up. They want to invite me over. I'll come in and take some pictures, and I'll make sure to let everybody know. So
I'll
just
rub the carpet.
My DMs are open. Yeah, I want a carpet tour. Fontainebleau. I'll hype that up all you want. So Friends is coming to Las Vegas. The 25th anniversary of Friends. This is actually pretty cool. Warner Brothers and MGM are putting on this like weekend event on October 18th and 19th. Starting out with the Bellagio fountains, they're going to have a new show to the Friends theme song, which is kind of cool. But the crux of everything is going to happen at New York on the Brooklyn Bridge. They're going to have a 700 square foot recreation of Central Perk in Lego, Phoebe's Yellow Cabin escape room. You'll be able to meet Marcel, which was Ross's monkey on the show. The Rembrandts, who are the band that perform that opening theme song, will actually be performing at New York on the Brooklyn Bridge. They'll have Friends karaoke. And then Luxor will have this special painting of Central Perk from the Blue Man Group. So it sounds like a fun time, and it's all free, I think. So if you're in town that weekend, definitely check it out.
The one-hit wonder like that lives on. It's amazing how much play they've gotten out of this theme song. I can't think of any other theme song that's done so well for a band, so that's cool to see. And Friends is so huge. People still watch it like nonstop, and it's still one of the most watched shows on TV on these apps, so it's no shock that they want to do something big. And there's a ton of fans that will come in just for this. You know, they do pop-ups in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff all the time, and they're always popular. So I think this is really good, you know, for them to do a 25-year anniversary. There's a lot of people that are in the age demographic that grew up watching Friends that they want to get to Vegas. So I think this will be cool. Something unique, something different. I don't think we need more people at the Bellagio fountains, but here we go.
Yeah, maybe not, but this is all about experiential Las Vegas, and we talked about that, and there's more expensive things like Area 15, but there's also stuff like this coming, and I think it's the perfect city for something like this, and the more that they can do this ad-free events like that, and I feel like if you were a Friends fan, seeing the Rembrandts perform, doing all that stuff, seeing the Bellagio fountain show with the song, I feel like that would really be something cool if you were a diehard fan, and I wouldn't mind going down and seeing it. I might go down there to go see it, so check it out.
Yeah, plus you can get your fortune told while you're listening to the fountains. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I wonder what they'll do about that. Maybe the fortune teller will have a Friends-themed booth for that weekend just to fit in. So let's talk rain. I feel like we're turning into weathermen at this point, but it just seems like every storm that passes through, it gets worse and worse and worse. We had 2 really crazy monsoons in the past few days, and more casinos leaked. We won't show you too much of that because it got even crazier. The roads were just completely flooded over. People driving through, feet of water. I-15, water completely covering it between Vegas and Prim state line. Lake Las Vegas, did you see this? It looked like a debris field because all the water from the city flows out underneath Lake Las Vegas into Lake Mead. But when there's too much water, it has nowhere to go but to go into Lake Las Vegas. And there's a great picture of this multi-million-dollar house looking over this debris field in Lake Las Vegas. It is, so ugly. There's sinkholes in the desert. I made a joke to you that bodies are probably going to start floating up at this point soon if we don't stop with the rain. Yeah, another crazy couple days in Vegas.
The green, it's such a great picture. And could you imagine hitting into a green and just seeing like a landfill behind it essentially of floating trash? And you spend all this money. And we've talked about how Lake Las Vegas, that area can be really pretty. It's kind of, not a ton of people go there or know about it, but it can be very beautiful at times, and this is not one of those times. So I'd be so mad if I owned one of those houses and I had to wake up and stare at this, or if I'm paying the green fees that they charge out in Vegas to golf and you're seeing this. It's just kind of nuts. Hopefully they can clean it up quickly. But yeah, the person driving through upstream through the through the river essentially with their car. I hope they take it straight to a dealership to sell, because I don't know that was the best way to handle that situation, but it was pretty nuts to see. And the sinkholes, that's just bizarre to me in the desert. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, that car going upstream, I was worried the whole time I saw that video before I saw the end. I'm like, it's going to start floating away. It's going to start floating away. And there was a road for them to turn off of right before that. It's right out of frame. So they were determined to do it instead of just taking the safe route and getting off the street. Craziness, not do that. That has ended poorly for many people people in Vegas and elsewhere. And I do think we even had some drowning deaths, and I don't want to make light of that. It was, a dangerous scenario with the rain. I actually got stuck at Home Depot because the rain was coming down so hard we really couldn't go anywhere. We had to let that pass. But luckily in the area of town I was in Henderson, it wasn't as bad as like the east side up near Sunrise Mountain. I even saw, Bonanza going towards the Mormon Temple, which is sort of in the Sunrise Mountain area, completely flooded over. It was insane. The worst part about this, talking about debris at Lake Las Vegas, is that when these roads flood, it washes all the rocks and dirt from the desert onto the road, so it takes days to clean up, and it just becomes a real mess even when the water has subsided. We had the hurricane warning, nothing happened, then a bad storm. It just seems like it's getting worse. Sorry to report so much on the weather, but hopefully that's the worst of it for this summer, and we can move on to better weather, which the temperatures, Mark, have been great. I woke up this morning, it was 70 degrees. We had a couple of just amazing days, so that's the nice part about these storms, is they brought in the great weather.
Yeah, that's what it's good to see. Around here when it gets really hot and humid, that's a thunderstorm breaks and then it drops by like 20 degrees. So those are always welcomed in the summer, even though they're not like a monsoon like it is there. And I saw some pictures of people, like the car, like a cab completely submerged in the water, a couple other vehicles, and you don't even know this is coming. It just hits quickly, which is crazy to me. Nothing around here like that happens. But it's, we have to show it because it's just so out of this world. The one thing I don't get is there's plenty of places that get monsoon type rain and they don't have facilities that are leaking all over the place. Like, I get the roads and everything crazy happening there because the ground just doesn't absorb the water. But you think like a brand new football stadium would be built to handle rain. There's stadiums in tons of places that have a lot of rain and they aren't leaking every time. So it's just crazy that all these new builds are still having the same issues of the old builds. You think that they would have figured out how to properly disperse the water when this happens, knowing that it's going to happen every summer.
Yeah, something to do with the heat maybe, I don't know, but yeah, Allegiant flooding, crazy weekend. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Skyview, those pillars finally going away for a circus, is that a good thing? The drone show, gambling in the Middle East. Hit us up in the comments. We'll discuss everything there. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and I'll be back in just a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Hope everybody had a great Labor Day. See you on Friday.